Buffy Sainte-Marie is regarded as one of Canada's most intelligent, politically astute, and effortlessly glamorous performers. She's a legendary singer and songwriter, and what a privilege it was for Metro Cafe to have a chance to talk to her.
I think I've delayed this long enough. Okay, Benita, floor is yours.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
My pleasure.
Now, you were born on a reserve in Regina, just outside of Regina, and then shortly after that you were adopted by a non-native family and lived in Maine.
Yes.
Now, what inspired you to go back and learn more about your own heritage being raised outside of it?
Well, my adoptive mom was part Mi'kmaq, and she was also an intellectual. She's real smart, she's a book kind of person. And she didn't have any social life, but she did read enough so that she knew and told me that what I was hearing in school was not necessarily so. And in the town where I was spending a lot of time, there was one native family. It wasn't mine, but they kind of looked after me, and the man was so kind and so smart. He sort of balanced the stereotype, dead Indians thing that I was getting in school with a reality that I was always interested in finding out more about, where I came from. So in my late teens, I went back to, I found this out, and I went back to Saskatchewan, and I've been very close to my. It's not like my mom and dad, but they are my relatives, and so I've been very close to my nieces and nephews as they grew up, and I'm a very lucky person. I have 2 families from 2 cultures.
Now, you have 3 degrees, and 1 in teaching, 1 in Oriental philosophy, and a PhD in fine arts. And do you find that your education made you who you are today, like helped formulate who Buffy Sainte-Marie is in a way?
Well, I feel like I'm so selfish because what I did in school was exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to study philosophy. I had entered school as a veterinary major, and I realized that I didn't have the kind of heart to. I wasn't a scientist, and I didn't really want to be involved with sick and hurt animals. So I discovered philosophy as, that it was a legitimate thing to think, and I loved it. So I got my first degree in philosophy, and it wasn't even a major in the school where I went to school, which is the University of Massachusetts. I had to invent a major in Oriental philosophy because really I wasn't so much interested in studying Western philosophy and more European philosophy, which is everywhere and very easy to find. I was interested in the alternative ways of thinking throughout the world. And so I studied religions and ways of thinking from all over the world, and I loved it. And what I'm doing today in philosophy, in teaching and thinking and being with people who have, new ideas or very old ideas, but alternative ideas, and also expressing myself through the arts is kind of the same way that I was as a little kid. I was interested in thought. I was just really curious, and I was interested, like all little kids are, in music and painting and dance and sculpture. And I just never got turned off to any of those things. Instead, I indulged myself in college again and again and have carried it into my career in a way that to me is just very, very comfortable.
You mentioned in one of your interviews that Indigenous people are there are a treasure trove of alternative ideas, which you talked about earlier. Can you explain this?
Yeah. I feel as though not only Indigenous people, but certainly Native people across Canada are full of options that most of us either don't give them credit for it because we don't know, or these ideas have not made it into the headlines yet, but they're there. They've been there, they're still there, and they've yet to be discovered. For instance, the 4 greatest principles of the United Nations come directly from the Iroquois Confederacy. The idea that one diplomat speaks at a time. It's not how it is in Canadian Parliament. The idea that an inappropriate leader should be impeached. They didn't do that in Europe. The idea of caucus. That's not a Latin word, it's a Mohawk word. And the whole idea of sovereign nations coming together with their heads held high without giving up their sovereignty, making a good government. I mean, people in Indigenous cultures have a genius for government that's not usually recognized and has yet to be brought into the world arena with a spotlight shown on it. So that's kind of the things that I like to do when I go to the UN, is just point out to the people that, you know, it's not so exotic. It's already here. It's just a matter of recognizing how cool it is so that we can discover more about one another.
Now, what has made Buffy Sainte-Marie so popular over the span of 30 years? What keeps you going?
What's made me so popular beats me. I don't know. I thought I would have been out of here a long time ago. I tried to get out. I quit for 16 years.
You had to raise your sons.
Yeah, and to be an artist. And to be on Sesame Street for a while, you know, because life is more than living in a hotel and doing interviews and making records and selling them, you know. For me it is. And I don't know, I think that I'm a lucky person in that not only have I had a nice education, an education that I've enjoyed and loved and that keeps, you know, I still teach in college and I still learn, but also I get to travel a lot. I've had an unusual career. I haven't had the kind of super fame career that would have made me unhappy, that would have wind me up in some penthouse forevermore. I spend time with alternative people. I'm very comfortable in communities, whether it's a reserve community or other Indigenous communities or just, you know, with regular people. And I think that that comes through in some of what I do. I certainly don't consider myself, you know, like I'm not giving Madonna any worries so far as selling records. But I do reach an audience that I'm very comfortable with.
What would that audience be, do you find? Who listens to Buffy Sainte-Marie in your eyes?
Demographics. Oh, I have a very diverse audience. Indigenous people, right away. Women, very often. Thinkers, probably. They would hear about me, either on the net or somewhere. They'd find out about me. Children who saw me on Sesame Street a long time ago and now are 19, 20, you know, in that kind of age group. And
I loved you as a kid. Oh.
Thanks. And then I still have people from the 60s and 70s who may have seen me doing whatever was going on during that time. But I think probably people have responded to me because of the songs. I expect that that's so. I know that that's the first thing that's the thing that allowed me to get on stage in the first place. Because I wasn't much of a singer when I first started out. I was just a college girl who really believed in the things that I was singing about. So I had a lot of heart. And I could write songs, and I had a way of saying something in 3 minutes that somebody else would have to write, you know, a 400-page book on. And that's what I think probably has kept me feeling good about remaining in the show business part of whatever this thing is that I do. Being involved with ideas and music, and not having a giant famous career has allowed me to continue to experiment in music, so that in the 60s, nobody wanted to know about electronic music. But I went ahead and made, you know, electronic records then, and brought electronics and Moogs and ARPs and synthesizers into movie scoring. I wasn't the only person doing it, but I was one of the people who were doing it. And when the Fairlight and the Synclavier came out, which were the early music computers, I was thrilled. And I think you could tell that I was from the music. You know, there's a great enthusiasm. And so when Macintoshes came out and I found out that I could make music and paintings and writing all in the same machine, I was a very happy person. So now I can just take it all on the road with me, and I think life is a matter of continually focusing on the things that you really love to do. Then, I don't know, you stay healthy or something.
I'm going to say a list of things that you've accomplished in your past, and in maybe a sentence or two, if you can tell me what that particular thing meant to you.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so we'll start with the Juno Hall of Fame.
Oh, no, that was the best. You don't have to say any of the rest of them. That was, I think, the nicest thing that ever happened to me. They didn't have to do it that good, and they did. They involved all those Native people. They covered political stuff, and it wasn't just a career retrospective about records, but they didn't miss much. So that was just amazing, just wonderful.
Winning an Academy Award for Up Where We Belong.
That was nice, and I'm very glad, you know, to have that Academy Award for that song. It was especially nice because it was really a collaborative work. I mean, Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes and all the people who made that arrangement, who were involved in making the record, and I wasn't even there, I wasn't even invited to the session. They made an incredible recording of the song, and there were 2 co-writers in that song as well. I did write that melody at home, and then Jack Nietzsche, who was scoring the movie, and Will Jennings, they also contributed to that song, so it was quite different for me.
It was a team.
Well, no, because we all worked separately. None of us worked together on it. So it was
Really?
collaborative, yes.
It was
almost,
but separately collaborative.
Well, yeah, kind of. It was sort of like a potluck.
Right.
And, but it certainly didn't have the personal element of the Juno induction.
Yes.
You know, the Juno induction covered so many parts of my life that get over yourself. I can't. It was really something.
Wow. Raising Dakota.
Oh, sometimes I just wish he was a little guy again. He's 19. It's, as any parent knows, that's as good as it gets. Every age is wonderful. Every minute is just precious. And he traveled with me when he was little, and he's been in my band.
Wow.
You know, since he's been big. He's a keyboard
keyboards.
player, yeah, and he plays steel drums. He plays a little bass. He's a songwriter. I saw him fall in love with music one day, and learn how to play by ear, and it's wonderful to see your child discover something that you know is going to bring them so much happiness, and through which hopefully they can bring happiness to other people.
5 years on Sesame Street.
That's a lot of hard work. I was raising my little baby. You know, he was new. He was brand new. And for 5.5 years, you know, we were doing that show. I'd go in and we'd do it for a couple of months, and then we'd leave and come back to Hawaii where we were living. And, you know, raising a little kid and doing 2 shows a day is a lot of work, but it was definitely worth it in terms of, any way you look at it, just the fun of it, the honor of being involved with people who really do care about children who are going to grow up and probably be better for having been involved in Sesame Street. Aren't you going to say anything awful?
Oh, no. Elvis Presley and Barbra Streisand performing songs that you've written.
Yeah, that was nice.
How do you feel about that?
Well, by the time that Elvis Presley and Barbra Streisand had recorded Until It's Time for You to Go, everybody and his sister had already recorded it. I always thought it was very nice that Elvis Presley and his wife Priscilla, that was their love song.
Was it?
Yes. And I was a big Elvis Presley fan when he was about 19. He was something.
Wow.
He really was, you know, in his early career. He was amazing. There's never been anybody quite like that. And I was in Nashville recording a song that he had recorded. When they called me up and they said, Buffy, they said, Elvis is recording your song and we're going to have some of the publishing, honey. And I said, oh, really? And I had already learned in the 60s that, you know, how I felt about that, because Universal Soldier, somebody took all my publishing for $1, and just because I was so green, they could take advantage, and they did. And it took a long time, about 10 years, for me to have enough money to buy back my own song for 25 grand. And so I believe that songwriters, you know, it's our only income. And I did not do that. I didn't give up the publishing. And they would call me every 3 months or so, and they said, Buffy, they said, Elvis wants to put this in his new movie, but we're going to have some of the publishing. And, you know, this is sort of their job, what they're supposed to do, and it was my job to say, no, you shouldn't do that to songwriters.
Look, we won't give you the publishing.
I was gonna to do your song, like it's an honor for them as well.
Oh, well.
As, you know, no, it is.
It's just so nice, though, to think that somebody likes a song enough to take it into their own lives and do it their own way. The first time it ever happened, I sort of thought, oh gosh, they're going to do it wrong. They changed the chords. They sang the wrong words. But it doesn't really matter. You can't kill a song. And another artist doing a song they can only make it, you know, they can only make the whole thing better. So I've learned to be really grateful for other artists who've done my music. Indigo Girls have done Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee twice on their double album. I was very flattered to find out.
But you know this before it actually...
No.
Really?
No, I don't know. Quicksilver Messenger Service, they surprised me. Janis Joplin surprised me. I don't usually know for months. No.
And then you hear through the grapevine.
Yeah.
Wow. You received a medal from Queen Elizabeth II.
I did.
Tell me about that.
Oh, it was a long time ago. I couldn't tell you exactly when, but my son was still little, so it was probably in the early 80s maybe. And I was asked to do a command performance in Ottawa, and which I did, and it was very wonderful. And she came up to the dressing rooms afterwards and spent some time with me and my family. My dad was there from Regina in his cowboy hat and his sweater.
Oh, that's great.
He said things like, daughter, is this going to take much longer? Because there's a game on and I'd like to go back to the hotel.
Oh, wow.
And Prince Philip came into the room at one point and he said, has anyone seen my wife? She's wearing a yellow dress and a crown. So they were really very nice, and it was fun.
And you're so involved, actively involved in Native issues. So tell me about that.
Well, that's kind of an ongoing thing that, people give me a lot of credit for it, but it's really other people who do this on a day-to-day basis, and sometimes I come into their area and try to shine a spotlight on what they're doing. I've seen things change greatly over the past 30 years or so since I've been doing that kind of thing, and I'm really proud of Native people, especially in Canada, where the whole, just the First Nations language, just the acknowledgement of seeing things that Indigenous people in Canada are doing. You see it in every newspaper in Canada. It's not that way in some other countries. Canada in general, just our whole attitude, including the attitude of Indigenous people, but our whole attitude toward multiculturalism. Some people say that doesn't count. Well, I think it counts a lot, and I'm really proud to talk about Native people from Canada and the strides that we've made together as Canadians in appreciating one another, because I live in Hawaii, and Hawaii is really a lot more like Canada than it is like the States when it comes to the heart. And the aloha spirit is the reason why I live there, the multicultural. We celebrate each other's holidays, and we think it's truly cool to be around people who are of different backgrounds. So, a lot of people deserve the credit for making it this way. A lot of people, on the grassroots level. Grassroots Canadian music is really coming forward into the mainstream and the world scene. Red Bull, who are on my new single, Darling Don't Cry, on the video, they've been nominated for a Juno for their own records. They record for Sweetgrass Records in Saskatchewan, which is a Cree project. Ted Whitecalf owns Sweetgrass Records, and it's just Indigenous people doing something very, very well, and doing it in such a way that other people are enjoying it too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm enjoying your music very much. Up Where We Belong. I love the CD.
Thank
I've
you.
been listening to it non-stop. It's just great. Now, so this is a compilation of the songs that you've done over the 30 years.
Yes.
And done your way. Right?
Yes.
It's your interpretations.
Mm-hmm. They're all new recordings.
They're all new recordings.
Yes, it's not like they went back and dug them out of the old records.
Uh-huh.
No, I recorded them all new.
So what inspired you to do this?
Really, because when I've been doing concerts all these years. I've done lots of concerts just this year, and people always come up to me and they say, well, how come you haven't recorded Up Where We Belong? Or, that old version of Universal Soldier, you ought to redo that. You sing it better now. Or, how come we can't find Until It's Time for You to Go, and Piney Wood Hills, and Indian Cowboy in the Rodeo, and Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee all on the same record. So EMI thought it was a great idea too, and everybody's real happy with it, especially me.
I love this. Good Night. Is that your favorite song?
Good Night is about my favorite song in the world. I didn't write it, though. Cliff Eberhardt wrote it.
Really?
Yeah, but I wish I'd written
It's
it.
a beautiful song.
Isn't it beautiful?
I love it.
I love it, too.
Is there anything you want to say to your Canadian fans and your audience? Is there anything in particular you want to say?
Oh, nothing. Just thank you very much for supporting my music and really for supporting all alternative music, because it's a very competitive field, and life in general, especially in the media, is very competitive. We're all competing with advertising all the time, and when different thoughts and different ways of feeling can get out there and encourage the average person, I think we all should be grateful for it. So, miigwech.
Thank you.
Yes.
Eyes are
never
so
seen one of
much.
these. Nope, never saw one.
Are you like? Have you been involved in long distance? Because that's what Goodnight seems to be about. Like,
Yeah.
I'm involved in one right now. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah, me too. It's the story of my life. The airport giveth and the airport taketh away. Just traveling. My boyfriend just sent me a Valentine fax that he made on his computer. And he has 2 little kids, and so, you know, it's a lot to miss. How far away is your sweetheart?
It's in Halifax, Nova
Halifax.
Scotia. That's where I'm from.
Oh, are you really, huh? Hey, have you read that book about Newfoundland? What's it called? The Shipping News.
No.
Oh man, what a great book. What a great book.
What's it about?
It's about a contemporary man who has been living in New York, and he doesn't have much self-esteem. Anyway, he just happens to go back to Newfoundland, and he discovers everything. But boy, it's about the ocean and the cold and the people and being rural in Canada and being involved in a news. Pronounce her last name is Annie, Proulx. It won Pulitzer Prizes, Canadian prizes. Oh man, it's an incredible book.
Okay. What's it called again?
The Shipping News.
Okay. Have you been to Halifax?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? I think we'll be going too. In April, I start touring.
You'll be in Halifax.
Yeah, I'll be in Halifax. If not, on that, I don't know. We start in Winnipeg, and I don't know whether we're going east first or west. But
I'll tell him.
I know.
Okay. Buffy Sainte-Marie is regarded as one of Canada's most intelligent, politically astute, and effortlessly glamorous performers. She's a legendary singer and songwriter, and what a privilege it was for Metro Cafe to have a chance to talk to her. Buffy Sainte-Marie is regarded as one of Canada's most intelligent, politically astute, and effortlessly glamorous performers. Okay, can we do that again? Thanks. Buffy Sainte-Marie is regarded. Can I do that again? Because the Buffy was like really Buffy. Okay. Or so, do I wait for you to move first? Okay. Buffy Sainte-Marie is regarded as one of Canada's most intelligent, politically astute, and effortlessly glamorous performers. She is a legendary singer and songwriter, and what a privilege it was for Metro Cafe to have a chance to talk to her. I'd like to do it again if I could.
Sure.
Okay. Buffy Sainte-Marie is regarded as one of Canada's most intelligent, politically astute, and effortlessly glamorous performers. She's a legendary singer and songwriter, and what a privilege it was for Metro Cafe to have a chance to talk to her.
Beautiful.
Okay.
And bye. All right, we're rolling.
Buffy Sainte-Marie is regarded as one of Canada's most intelligent, politically astute, and effortlessly glamorous performers. She's a legendary singer and songwriter, and what a privilege it was for Metro Cafe to have a chance to talk to her.